All right. We will be underway here in just a moment. We'll give them the green light. And we're going to get prepared to watch our first of many elimination round matches. Again, someone's walking out here with $5,000, 30 SCG Tour points, and an invitation to our Season 1 Invitational, as Hobbs is going to start things off with a Scalding Tarn into a Steam Vent, so down to 17, and probably a Serum Visions. So many mid-ranging and control decks here. Maybe the linear parade is over finally.
Or maybe not over, but at least down a little bit for now. Modern is such a robust field of threats and answers that it's very natural for this stuff to cycle through.
Scry 2 here on the Serum Visions for Jonathan. You can see he's picked up a Cryptic Man. Going to keep them both on top. That's never a good thing to see, no matter what deck you're playing.
A bolt in the path.
Fair enough. Overgrown Tomb, pass the turn back. Hobbs will draw that Lightning Bolt. He'll play a Hallowed Fountain untapped, fall down to 15, doing a little bit of the work for Klomparens. Now here's for Search for Escanta.
It makes a lot of sense to put a premium on drawing the creature removal spells if you have a turn to Search for Escanta. Sets Hobbs up to protect himself over the long term, and then get a huge advantage with Search for Escanta flipping over.
He will mill the path, not interested in drawing that. The draw step for the turn was a Teferi Hero Dominaria. Klomparens will sacrifice her Wooded Foothills, fall down to 19, search for one of those Ravnica Shocklands, I imagine. We'll see which one it'll be. And it'll be a Blood Crypt. Search for Escanta, a 2 of here for Hobbs this weekend. A card that is quite good, but a card you can't play 4 copies of.
The legendary restriction matters. It's too slow for some matchups. It is a permanent on the battlefield that your opponent can interact with in a deck that doesn't really present a whole lot of those kind of cards.
Twilight Mire into Liliana means that Klomparens is going to start going after the hand here. Both players will discard. Teferi and Fatal Push are the discards. Hobbs will take a look at the top card with Search for Escanta. We'll consult the hand before finalizing this decision, and there goes Electrolyze. Draw a card for the turn. Looks to be a Scalding Tarn. That'll be land number 4, which opens up Cryptic Command number 1 as we head back over to Jadine. Jadine, no early pressure this game. Haven't seen the discard spells yet either. We'll see how she wants to start her 4th turn, which will be a Liliana activation. Discard Liliana. Ooh, wow. Discarding Cryptic Command. Boy.
And with the requisite mana. Whew. Okay.
That's notable. I would not be feeling good about this game if I were Jadine seeing that.
Hard to imagine what could be in his hand that's much better than Cryptic Command, where he would not have played on his own turn.
Two mana spell. Which one will it be? Scavenging Ooze. There's another Cryptic.
Yep.
Perhaps he just has a bunch of them. It'll be counter draw on the Cryptic, as Hobbs will take a little bit of damage from his Steam Vents there.
Yeah, Hobbs with 4 main deck Cryptic Commands this weekend.
Negate will go to the graveyard. Search for Escanta will transform. And now he can get this aspect of his deck rolling, and it looks like he's also picked up a copy of Teferi. Pretty good time for the Hero Dominaria. It'll go up to 5. It'll draw Hobbs a card. Most importantly, it will untap 2 lands so he can continue to interact. He'll sacrifice his Flooded Strand very quickly. That'll be a basic island, a beautiful one at that, from Unstable. And now here's the Serum Visions. So he'll draw and scry 2. Keep in mind, in a weird way, Hobbs able to make 2 land drops this turn. One from Escanta transforming, the other just a normal land drop in the island. Now he'll untap 2 lands there from the Teferi. Is it better than Jace in Modern? Unclear, but it certainly looks good right now. Liliana's going up. An additional Liliana will be discarded. Snapcaster Mage goes to the graveyard. Here's Maelstrom Pulse. That'll work.
Really surprised by what Hobbs has left over in hand here. I mean, his discards to the Liliana the Veil so far have been a lot of conceding of the late game to try to get a little bit of edge now. And if Klomparens can find an answer to this as Kanta, Hobbs is left with very little in the way of resources.
Well, that's the question, is if Jadine can find an answer to this very powerful land, as Hobbs is going to sacrifice a Scalding Tarn, get a basic island, and activate.
That said, if Hobbs is able to keep this as Kanta around, that's going to be the end of the game.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Take a look at the top 4. Well, the whiff. Back over to Hobbs now. In for 2. Dark Confidant doesn't have any interest in blocking. Lightning Bolt will take care of it. And they will trade as we head back over to Klomparens. Here's a Lightning Bolt. Oh, new plan.
Okay.
Maybe a burn you out plan as Hobbs is going to fall down to 7. Hobbs has dealt himself quite a bit of damage with those lands. Here's an activation. Take a look at the top couple of cards. It'll be a Logic Knot. Now, Jadine does have a copy of Kolaghan's Command in hand. I think the plan was to hit you for 2 and make you discard. Logic Knot's going to gum that up a little bit simply because Hobbs can counter it.
Right.
Or he may not counter it. And it does not look like he will. Oh, boy.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I think he didn't realize he had to discard that card. That looks a little bit awkward there. And now Snapcaster Mage is going to hang back on defense out of fear of Bloodbraid Elf.
Right.
4th land rolls off the top. There's a Swamp. We'll have a Cascade here in a moment, I'm sure.
I like Klomparens pivoting and realizing she needs to close out the game pretty shortly once the Escanta's going on. Some unorthodox plays, but she knows the long term isn't going to favor her.
I totally agree with that, and I think that's a good assessment of the game state here by Jadine as she will Cascade off of Bloodbraid Elf. See what she finds here. Scavenging Ooze. Not the best, but not the worst. We'll have an Escanta activation, I believe, in response to Scavenging Ooze being cast off the Cascade. Top 4 cards, Logic Knot among them. There's also a copy of Electrolyze. I've got some interest in that one.
Yep.
Bloodbraid will come in. There's your trade. Electrolyze will take care of that. Hobbs will draw. He'll untap. Try to keep this engine rolling. Going down to 4.
5 versus 4 didn't change a whole lot. Still 2 cards.
Hobbs will draw. Looks like maybe just a couple of lands in hand here at this stage. Still has not Escanta to activate. There's a Field of Ruin. Actually, not a bad draw. As Raging Ravine and Treetop Village are bad draws now. And you see what rolls off the top there for Jadine. Here's an activation of Escanta. Found a Cryptic Command. That's a winner. This will be Field of Ruin. That'll take care of the Raging Ravine. And Jonathan will search up an island. Jadine a forest. As you mentioned, 5 and 4, not a big difference here. Lightning Bolt, of course, deals 3. Same with Bloodbraid. Kolaghan's Command only deals 2.
Yeah, so it's 2 Kolaghan's commands is the thing that changes. But now Hobbs starting to really pull away here with the Escanta.
Celestial Colonnade, the play. And now here's an activation of Escanta. Looks like a Lightning Helix and a Cryptic Command the option. Second Cryptic is what Hobbs will select. As we head back over to Jonathan. He'll play a Sacred Foundry tap. Not ready to get in there with the Colonnade just yet. He'll hang tight. Wouldn't surprise you if Jadine has a Terminator or Fatal Push in hand. Stomping Ground on the battlefield tapped. We go back over to Hobbs. It's another activation for Escanta. You can see just how powerful this card is, as there's a copy of Secure the Waste.
Yeah, your position only gets better over time, so there's no reason for Hobbs to do anything risky and play into creature removal.
Hobbs will bounce the Blood Crypt on the end step, going to restrict Jadine's red mana a touch.
I like bouncing the Blood Crypt too, because from Hobbs' position, the thing he's worried about most is 2 red spells coming off the top at once. Try to pin down the red mana a little bit.
Jadine going to play an Inquisition of Kozilek. This would be a good time to maybe cast that Secure the Waste. That is a way for Hobbs to win the game very, very quickly. We could also see Cryptic Command with a counter draw.
I kind of like just securing for secure and leave up Cryptic mana is my instinct here. Only thing you got to worry about is getting burned out. So get a lot of pressure on the table that way, and you still leave up the Cryptic in case Klomparens has drawn a couple bolts.
Well, there is Cryptic. That'll take care of Inquisition. And there's Tarmogoyf. Blood Crypt tapped. With only 1 card left in hand, now's a pretty good time to secure, but it looks like we'll see an Escanta activation. There's a Lightning Helix. See if he wants to fire that off. He will. So Hobbs is going to go up to 7. And 7 is a whole lot more than 4 in this instance.
Yeah, now he has a lot of cushion against haste threats or burn spells.
Hobbs will draw. Pick up a copy of Serum Visions. Play a Colonnade and simply pass the turn back. The inevitability is certainly on Jonathan's side at this stage. Well, here's the big secure. And he can secure like this because there really is nothing to fear.
Exactly. Before, there was some risk insofar as he could get killed if Jadine had peeled a couple bolts, but at 7, there's not really any combination of cards can do it. He can tap out for a full secure, and Jadine's going to tap.
Jonathan Hobbs will win game number 1 here over Jadine Klomparens. Just got control. Too much to overcome there in game number 1 against John, but you can see Jadine's already reaching for a bunch of cards. We'll take a look at what she could potentially be reaching for in a moment, but first, a few messages from our sponsors. We are back, getting ready here for game number 2 between Jonathan Hobbs and Jadine Klomparens. Jeskai Control and Jund is what we'll be watching. And we'll take a look at Jadine with 3 Fulminator Mages, 3 Collective Brutalities, 2 Nile Spellbombs, 2 Graph Trigger's Cage, a Grim Lava Mancer, an Engineer Explosives, a Damnation, a Liliana the Last Hope, and a Thoughtseize. What do we like?
The extra discard spells here in Thoughtseize and the Collective Brutalities, the Liliana the Last Hope, the Nile Spellbombs, and the 3 copies of Fulminator Mage. A lot to bring in.
Other side of things here for Hobbs, 2 Dispel, 2 Celestial Purge, 2 Vendilion Click, a Ruined Halo, a Baneslayer Angel, Disdainful Stroke, Detention Sphere, Wear Tear, Engineer Explosives, Elspeth Sun's Champion, Settle the Wreckage, and additional copy and negate.
So I think you want the 2 copies of Celestial Purge and the Elspeth Sun's Champion. Past that, there's a couple of reasonable options. I think Detention Sphere, Baneslayer Angel, Negate, Engineered Explosives are all right on the cusp of cards I would bring in, and it just kind of depends on how much of the bolts he wants to cut. The smaller cards.
Well, those are the options for both players, and we'll be underway here in game number 2. In just a moment, a couple updates here for you. And Jimmy Smith, the number 6 overall seed, is taking care of Dylan Hand, number 3 overall seed. So, Jeskai Control will knock out Humans. Definitely a bad matchup there for Dylan Hand. Wasn't sure if he'd be able to overcome it because he was on the play, but the answer is no. Smith will play the winner of this match between Hobbs and Klomparens, so we could have a Jeskai mirror. Other side of things, Marshall Arthur's number 1 overall seed. He's playing Mardu. He wins his match over Jesse Hefner 2-0. So Mardu defeats Jund. And then you got Peter Tragos against Caleb Shearer. Peter is number 4 overall seed. Caleb is your 5. And the green-white hexproof player up a game here over Storm, and maybe a little bit of an upset. However, I have just been informed that they are now tied.
Okay.
Yes. So Peter will be on the play for game 3.
We talk a lot about, the Hexproof deck doesn't have any interaction for Storm. It kind of cuts the other way, too. It's not like Storm is really flush with interaction. We just expect it to be the faster deck. And Hexproof can have some really explosive draws, and then they can gain enough life to make it problematic to combo out. So I still expect Caleb to take the match, but I don't think – it's not like Green-White Hexproof isn't equipped with some number of draws that are very hard on Storm.
Should be a much more interesting game here. I think Jadine's a pretty big dog in game 1. A lot of just dead cards.
The bolts and terminates. I think she certainly has more cards in the sideboard to bring in that are impactful.
Yeah. Didn't really open up on anything too powerful either in game 1. No real discard or anything. Liliana was slow to the battlefield. Turn 3 Liliana the draw. Not all that menacing.
Yeah, on the draw, nothing on 1, nothing on 2. And Hobbs with turn 2, search for his Kanta, which Klomparens couldn't win a fight over. And that's pretty much that. Can't win short, can't win long.
Yep. Treetop Village is where we'll start game number 2. Over to Jonathan Hobbs. It'll be a Flooded Strand. Back over to Jadine. Discard spell now. Baneslayer Angel, Elspeth Sun's Champion, Lightning Bolt, Cryptic Command, couple of lands. Among those lands, Field of Ruin, and Hallowed Fountain.
A lot of bigs, few littles.
Yeah.
Can only take the bolt.
Good old Baneslayer Angel. Hobbs will sacrifice a Flooded Strand on the end step, get himself a Hallowed Fountain. We'll go back over to Jonathan Hobbs now. He'll play a blue-red land, pass that turn back. It's a newer edition of Sulphur Falls. That's what that is. That's throwing me off. Jadine will get a Stomping Ground. Well.
Whoa. Okay.
Well, that's not alive anymore. as a timely Lightning Helix will kill that.
Her hand must be really heavy on lands for that play to come off there.
I agree.
You have to have nothing to do with your mana and not care if you get your land blown up on the third turn.
Well, there is a Bloodstained Mire. This is a Tarmogoyf. We'll go back over to Hobbs now. That Tarmogoyf is a 3/4. Field of Ruin will be land number 4. 3 blue sources out there for Hobbs. Klomparens will sacrifice Bloodstained Mire, search for a land. Another update here for you, maybe a little bit of an upset, but Peter Tragos is going to win his match over Caleb Shearer. Hexproof, the green-white variety, going to take care of Blue-Red Giftstorm. Another great tournament here for Caleb, but a title escapes him in what many would consider to be a good matchup. But green-white Hexproof fighting back, going to be playing against Marshall Arthurs, playing Mardu Pyromancer in the semifinals.
We did not get to see the match, obviously, but it would not surprise me if Peter being the 4th seed and having the play was a big part of that. So we got reports on games 1 and 3 real quick.
Mm-hmm. Looks like it might be Bloodbraid Elf time. It is. Dark Confidant is what has been cascaded into. We'll counter that and draw a card. Now here's an attack for, looks like it'll be 7. Creature, instant, land, and there is a sorcery there in Inquisition of Kozilek. Well, are we gonna take the Baneslayer Angel test?
Come on, it's here. So why,
That's why you play the card,
you
right?
you had one in your sideboard.
Yep. Well, it's in his hand.
Right. I'm just saying, like, wait, you want to take another hit to the jaw and hope that your Elspeth's good? Nah. It's Baneslayer time.
Well, we certainly know what Patrick would do. That's not what Jonathan's going to do. He's going to play a Serum
Fine,
Visions.
just Serum Vision for land number 6 and Holo Cryptic, whatever. That's fine, too.
He's found an Engineered Explosives, has Hobbs. Pass the turn back. Klomparens will draw. An attack will bring Hobbs down to 7. This is an Inquisition of Kozilek. That will resolve. Engineer Explosives down. The rest of those cards there are a lot better than that. Cryptic, Baneslayer, Elspeth, land 6. Jadine will pass. Is it time to maybe catch Cryptic Command?
I mean, my instinct is just keep it because you're going to Elspeth and lock up the board next turn. I suppose with JD not doing very much, there's some risk that she could chain together enough to take care of the token, and then bouncing the Tarmogoyf gives you a lot of cushion.
Down to 6 goes Hobbs. In double bolt range if it's there.
Yeah, and to think he could be at 16 right now if that Baneslayer had been working.
Let's see what this is going to be.
It's pretty much a one-turn window here.
Thoughtseize is a little bit late. Celestial Purge, Snapcaster Mage, Baneslayer Angel. One-turn window sounds right to me, partner.
It will not get easier for Klomparens to get this Elspeth off the table in subsequent turns.
There are 4 blue sources of mana, so Snapcaster Mage plus Cryptic Command is a real possibility here for Hobbs. You kind of want to take Baneslayer Angel for obvious reasons, and even Celestial Purge is a pretty real card here, but that's just placed in the graveyard for Snapcaster Mage, so if you take it, it's like you're not taking it at all. Oh, Brave. Bloodbraid Elf down. What's this? Maelstrom Pulse. Okay.
Okay.
All right, there's Magic to be played here.
I mean, the Snapcaster and the Purge is not the easiest set of leftovers to beat from here.
No argument there. Here's an attack for 1.
If Jadine was not able to get the Elspeth off the table that turn, it absolutely would be done. So
we go back over to Klomparens now. We know she has a Tarmogoyf. Looks like she'll start with another discard spell. Snapcaster and Purge. I think we'll see Snapcaster Mage maybe just target Cryptic. Purge will go to the graveyard. Jadine won't play a spell. And Jonathan will play a Cryptic. Gonna bounce one of these lands. And back over to Hobbs we go.
Interesting that he wouldn't bounce the Snapcaster Mage there.
I was thinking the same thing.
I guess he's trying to close out this game. That's still that line, the total sum of that line feels a little bit too aggressive to me. Because if you just let your Celestial Purge just, bite it there. Now Liliana, the Last Hope is
it's a real card.
Really bad news.
Mm-hmm. Here's Bloodbraid. Let's do a little Cascade and Liliana the Veil. And that one's going to get hit by a Logic Knot.
Well, it might be the Bloodbraid. I don't know if Hobbs wants to fall down to 3 here.
That's interesting. Coming on in? Well, he's down to 3 now. Hobbs is walking a tightrope here.
And he was playing very fast these last few turns and now has slowed down. It's essentially the same critique I had of the first game, even though he won that one, was it feels like he's playing a little fast and loose with some premium resources.
Yeah. Because that Logic Knot, to me, the Liliana, well, there's not a lot to fear there.
Right.
Doesn't strike me as a card that's doing very much.
But falling to 3, now a lot of Klomparens' deck kills you. Second Bloodbraid Elf, Bolts are still in her deck.
Mm-hmm. Here's Tarmogoyf. That'll resolve. Collective Brutality. That and Dome You. Lightning Helix is timely. And now, we've got 2 creatures staring each other down. Life totals are what they are. And we head back over to Hobbs. Now, both players have huge draws here. Hobbs probably has the better draws.
Yep. But Klomparens has inevitability on her side if neither player draws anything meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
And she can also rip a removal spell this turn for the kill.
In. Snapcaster down. Follow-up, nothing. Back over to Hobbs. Teferi. It's a good draw.
Really good draw.
Gonna tuck that away. Teferi is going to fall down to 1. Big draw here for Jadine. That's a Bloodbraid Elf. He does have a Purge. Cascade into the Tarmogoyf. Okay. Attack. Purge it. That'll be exiled.
Hobbs gets at least 2 looks at it here.
Yep. 2's a lot. Supreme Verdict is not bad. Draw. I think I saw a Supreme Verdict in there.
I think Vendilion Click was the draw. And a land is what I saw.
Steam Vent Center's tapped. Untap. Let's go back over to Jadine. Chill draw. In. Where's that going? Well, Snapcaster. That's a lot better than Vendilion Click. I'll tell you that much. Hobbs got a stocked graveyard. Looks like it's going to be Cryptic Command. Block there. Okay. Jadine have any sort of follow-up here.
And surprised not to see him want to bounce the Snapcaster.
Not sure how much else he's got down there in the graveyard worth finding. I guess there is like a Lightning Helix. Yeah, and he's got a lot of lands to work with too. Yep.
Yeah, he's not tight on mana. There's no cards in hand. He's got all the mana in the world to work with.
Mm-hmm. We'll see Cryptic probably bounce Tarmogoyf. Yep.
I don't know. I guess at this stage with the Teferi, maybe it's just fine to bounce the Tarmogoyf and just leverage this. Yeah, on second thought, I think I'm down with just bouncing the Goyf and letting the Snapcaster go.
Yeah. Hobbs is really starting to get it rolling now. He found a copy of Supreme Verdict, also found a copy of Secure the Wastes. And it'll be a big old secure here.
And now Klomparens has to play around Teferi just minusing next turn and clearing out a blocker or a premium threat, plus trying to, how do I manage to win the game in the long term?
There's Maelstrom Pulse. That'll take care of Teferi. Pass the turn back. Secure the Wastes for a whole bunch. And that is going to do it. Jonathan Hobbs is going to win this match here over Jadine Klomparens. 2-0. Jeskai Control will be moving on over Jun. Some good back-and-forth games there. But for you Jeskai fans out there, most played deck and day number 2 of competition, and we'll be getting ready for